Hello, everybody. Once again, back again with my boy Dante here for the H-Town Rundowns Rockets Rundown podcast, guys. Hello on this fine Monday here. Dante, how you doing, my boy? Tell me about
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm doing great, man. I'm just ready. NBA season is here. Ready to see our Rockets kick it up in the high gear versus Orlando on Wednesday.
Yeah, I am so excited, guys. Well, be sure to follow me and Dante here on the X app at Coach Dante31. It's his, mine is Drip2Bs
Yep.
underscore AWD. Follow me on the X app. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to follow us there as well. And if you're trying to get to YouTube, it's the H-Town Rundown on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining today. Let's jump right into it. Oh yeah, let's jump right into it today. So we're gonna break it down to a couple new things. We're gonna talk about the last two games of preseason part two. Then we're gonna talk about the PJ trade as it needs to be done and dealt with, and then finally we're gonna talk about the season opener. Let's jump right into it today, boys. Let's jump right into it today. So we lost against the Spurs. That was the first game we talk about today. 103 to 117. L was a rematch game. Jabari, here your key players of the game. Jabari ended up going for 23 minutes tonight. He had 20 points, 5 boards, and a block. He shot fairly efficient, 50% from the field, 33% from three, and he made all his free throws. He shot 100%. And then we got our boy Nate Williams, who actually just got his two-way contract converted to an NBA contract just a few minutes ago. So
Yep.
boom, you're already jumping on that. He ended up playing 23 minutes as well. He had 19 boards, 8 rebounds, and a steal on 53% shooting. He didn't make a three, but he made all his free throws. He made the shots that mattered. And then last but not least, his very first start of his career, even though it was in preseason, it's his very first start, Cam Whitmore. He had played 30 minutes as a starter today. He had 17 points, 6 boards, 2 steals, 2 assists, 6 steals. He remember, guys, he had 8 steals in the summer league, so he's carrying that over. So he had 6 steals and a block. He shot
Yep.
27% from the field, 14% from three, but he shot 73% from the field. So not a great efficient night for him against the Spurs for the last half. We were playing Victor Wembanyama. Dante, can you give us a wrap on how it looked guarding that man out there? He's just so long.
I mean, the man just so long.
Yeah, he's a
He's
long guy.
very talented. He's very talented. He's tall. I mean, again, I believe Big Vic. He's gonna have some problems against some bigger body guys like a Joel Embiid or something like that. Guys that's really actually bigger than him. Like a Rudy Gobert type guy. Like a Rudy Gobert type guy, he can have trouble against them. But he's so talented on the offensive side of the ball. He can do so much. I think one issue he has already, and I can see it, is he struggles shooting the basketball. Like he didn't have a good efficient night. He didn't have a efficient night against us. He had a very good block on one, very good chase down block. I forgot who was trying to lay the ball up, and he had a very good chase down block. So he can move laterally on the floor. He can get up and down
He
the
was very
court.
quick.
Uh, we definitely lost the game in the first quarter. Again, Devin Vassell came out hot as a hot pocket out there, and he was shooting everything. I mean, he made his first like 9 threes, first three threes in the game, and they gave us problems. So, and then we played them on our second game, the very home game. So the Spurs are going to always come out and play hard. They're going to be well coached. Kelvin Johnson is very good as well, but Zach Collins, you know, just got his new contract today. But we just started off very good in this game. And we started a lineup of Cam Whitmore at 17, but he was inefficient. He got to be more consistent. He can get to the rim with ease, but he's got to be more consistent. I want to see Cam Whitmore be more of a willing passer too, because sometimes when you're on those fast breaks, the guy do not really pass the ball as much. So he really, forced himself to do a lot of things. And Jabari Smith was the only one pretty much that was knocking down shots. And Jayshawn Tate had a great game too. I thought he
Yeah.
was playing very well. He hit a three in this game. And LP, 1 for 10, not going to get it done. I don't know if he's still getting adjusted to the offense and stuff like that right now. But Ime Udoka is putting him in some situations where he can succeed. But I'm not worried about IP. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's competing hard on the defensive side of the ball. And he got 3 fouls, I believe, in the first quarter. And he had 5 fouls in the third quarter. And you know what I like what Ime Udoka did? He kept him in the game. He said, hey, he had confidence in his player. And I liked that. We only made 7 threes, 7 for 41. That's not going to get it done when you can't shoot the ball. It's not going to get it done, and it's going to be hard to win game. The one thing we did do well, we did get out rebounded, but we didn't get out rebounded by much. They only got 4. They got 4 more rebounds than we did. Their ball movement was killing us. Their ball movement was insane. 33 assists. Their ball movement was insane pretty much. They had 23 turnovers. That's the second time in the preseason we forced the team to have 20 turnovers or more. So that tells you we played great defense. And all of that. We just couldn't hit shots, man. We just couldn't hit shots from the field. We weren't consistent from the field and hitting the shots. So I believe we're going to be fine. We fought back from 23 points down. And Nate Williams was balling, man. Nate Williams could play some ball, man. He was balling this whole preseason. So he definitely deserved that contract, that two-way contract that he deserved, because he's been balling for the last couple of games for us in the preseason.
Yeah, he's fighting for a contract, and when a man's money is on the line, he never works harder than that. Something that was really interesting, I thought, was the energy for keys to the game.
Yep.
I thought the energy was just different in this game. We came out and tried to attack. Unlike the first game we played against the Spurs, where we came out, we looked like we were drunk. We looked very lazy. The second game that we ended up having, at first, I felt like we were really trying to attack and be super aggressive, but that yielded us not great returns, unfortunately. It was not something that was, it was just unfortunate that our guys, despite all, the positive energy we were trying to put out, we were just, putting ourselves in a hole. And something else that was very interesting was, Ime used to be on the same team when Coach Pop was coaching back, way back. He was a part of that run, and it was a little bit of a coaching battle. It was kind of cool to see whenever Pop would make an adjustment, Ime would make an adjustment right back, trying to counter as much as he could. But we just couldn't beat out the fact that Devin Vassell he just does not like us. I don't know what the Rockets did to Devin, but every time he plays against us, it's personal. It is personal. Yeah, he makes us feel it too. And then Wembanyama, just this force, this impossible guy, the 2K character, this demigod just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know how he's able to do all these kinds of skills, but despite, like Dante was saying, for the rebounds anyway, we were able to keep it close, and that granted us some second chance points between offensive rebounds and then all the steals that we were generating. That good defense translated to high offense. I believe we were leading them in second chance points. It was nice to see. That was something I had on here to hopefully win us the game. Unfortunately, did not. But there's only so much that we can do in regards to that, and that's okay. We faced a veteran coach who's been in the league for, I don't know, since sand and dust was invented, and he knows every trick in the book. That guy. Pop is just too good, and Ime is great. I personally thought he was the best coach on the market. We scooped him up, and that was enough for me. But you're not winning against Pop, especially with a team that is still new, but at the same time hungry and ready to go. Probably just as hungry as we are. They're eager to get back. I mean, they were in the playoffs for 22 straight years, and they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, I mean, again. Yeah, I know Jabari. I've been raving about Jabari Smith, and he's gonna have a big season. I'm telling you, he's gonna have a bounce back year that he had last year. He came on strong last year throughout the whole. After the All-Star break, Jabari Smith again was playing some good basketball. Man, you saw in the preseason, he's more efficient from the field. Man, he's more efficient. He's taking comfortable shots, and I like the way Ime Udoka is getting him the ball in spots that he's comfortable with. So Ime Udoka, I mean. I'm not worried. I think he's going to adjust really, really fast to this team. Man, just can't wait to Wednesday, man, and to see the new lineup. To see Amen Thompson, be a part of that second unit, and The rotations are gonna be better. I'm just very excited. But Jabari Smith is the guy I'm gonna be looking at for this season to have his second bout, to have he's gonna have a good second season. He's gonna have a good second season. I think he's gonna be more efficient, and I like the way he's taking that jump shot with confidence and taking those tough turnaround jump shots. I like that.
He's really like a two-way face-up big. He's able to, like, as long as he's able to rise and fire on you, it's going in. It feels like at this point, and that's something that I love that he added to his game, or rather, he brought back from Auburn that he used a lot. And he's using his size. He now knows that he's big. He's a big man. He's got, like you said, that confidence in him that we just really didn't see last season until the very end, and then which followed suit immediately in summer league. And Jabari was by far the best player in all of summer league. Bro dropped a 33-point game winner and then a 38-point game just because in, I think, 31 minutes of run. I mean, Jabari can be that guy. I'm excited to see. And speaking of bounce back, this next game we're talking about right into here is Şengün's get back game from a putrid game against Wimby. He turned around and was able to win it against the Heat here. I've got him on the key players, and we'll start with him. He had 27 minutes played in this game. He had 16 boards, 16 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, and 4 blocks for our boy. Very phenomenal on the defensive end. We're seeing a kind of different master on the end of the field. His IQ, because he's a very smart basketball player as it is, and I believe that he could be a smart defender, and we're seeing it right now with those 4 blocks. However, he still shot poor tonight with only 37% from the field. He did not make a 3, and he shot only 67% from the free throw line, which is not great. But we'll get into the free throw side of things. Here's my GOAT, Jalen Green. Of course, he had 20 points, 4 boards, an assist, and a steal on 40% from the field, 43% from 3, and he made all his free throws. But the important thing about Jalen is he made that buzzer beater going into the second half there. And that was beautiful. And then, of course, his percentage tanked in the second half. He was not great. He was very good in the first half. He was just less aggressive, getting his shot up. But the next guy I want to talk about is Amen Thompson. Bro was going crazy in this game. He had 25 minutes played, 19 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. Shot 67% from the field, and he shot almost 80% from the free throw line, hitting at 78% in total. Dante, what do you want to say about the game?
Hey man, Jalen Green, again, like you said, he's going to be more efficient this year because he's not going to be an only scorer on the floor when we need something, when we need a basket. You got guys like Jabari Smith and Fred VanVleet, his counterpart, had 20 points. They had 40 points apiece in the backcourt. So Fred VanVleet, the 2 layups that he made, the 1 layup that he had with the behind the back, and then the ice cream scoop layup. Thought it was a foul up on that one. He made 2 good moves, man, when he made the defender look really silly up on that. That's the type of scoring that Fred VanVleet gives you. And Amen Thompson, man, looked very good, man. Chipping in with 7 rebounds, 25 minutes, and 4 assists, man. He's going to have some bumps and bruises down the road, man. But this guy's a smart guy. This guy's a smart young kid. He's going to figure it out. Dylan Brooks, like I say, played 27 minutes. Wasn't good shooting-wise. But, again, I'm okay with him. If they're wide open, I'm okay with him shooting if he's wide open. Wide open. The long as they good, efficient shots that you can make, I'm okay with him shooting the basketball. He made a corner pop 3 earlier in the game that I actually liked. So he's not going crazy. Like 10 shots. He took 10 shots. Like I said last podcast, he can take 10 shots. I don't mind him taking 10 shots as long as they wide open. They're wide open. I'm not mad at that. Those are good shots. They maybe some will fall, some will not fall. But I like Amen Thompson. I like the bounce back game after them play so well versus San Antonio. He's going to have some ups and downs, but you expect him to figure it out, man. He's going to have some games that he's going to step up, and he's a hell of a defender, man. This guy's a hell of a defender. He's a good leaper, man, and this guy is dynamic, man. Took the ball down the court, I think off a steal or off a rebound, and he just took it over to Miami Heat and just went crazy over them, man. But other than that, man, that's why I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited to see. We get to see the real lineups, man, we made Doku, who's going to be cracking the rotation. We're going to be, again, I'm pretty much sure we're going to get to the topic without Eason. We're going to be without our guy Tari Eason, but it'll be interesting to see who steps into that role. Who's going to step into that role? Do we go out there? I don't think we go out and get nobody like we were saying. We were trying to get a Taylor Horton Tucker or something like that. I don't think we make that move as of right now. Make that move as of right now. We're going to be in a hooch of getting someone at the trade deadline. It depends on what position are we going to be at, which is, I think we're going to be like in between 9th or 10th, somewhere up and down. I'm going to assume we're going to be up and down. Then I think that will be a good time to make a move to improve the squad. But other than that, I'm definitely excited, man. That was a good win, man. Good 4-1 in the preseason. When the last time we can be happy about that? We know we can do good in the preseason, but we got to carry it on to the regular season, man. And Wednesday, we're going to get our opportunity again in a very, very winnable game against Orlando, man. Well, I think this team now, this Rockets team now, we can beat, man. We can beat Orlando, man. And again, almost another 20-point turnover game that we had. Almost. Listen, we're going to be one of the best top defending teams in the league. You know why? This is 3 games in a row. 3 down in 3 games, we forced a team to have 21 turnovers. 21 turnovers. And they only scored 104 points. That's some good defense, man. We're playing some good defense. Now, if we can do that in the rest, say we can force Orlando to over 20 turnovers, we're winning that game. We'll win that game. We can force Orlando and San Antonio, them guys, to 20, most teams to 20 turnovers. This is 3rd time in the preseason, man. We force a team to have over 20 turnovers. That means our defense is very insane, very good, and I'm liking it, man. We are playing some good defense out here.
Good defense, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that we both said towards the end of the season podcast going into the offseason was that we want to see an increase in defense, and this is exactly that. Not only is our defense good, it's great even. I'm very, very pleased by our guys. Again, I mean, LP getting 4 blocks, our guys off the bench getting 2-3 steals apiece. It's just absolutely beautiful. And not to mention, we didn't even have Tari out there. Tari's still, kind of feeling the way he's feeling, so he didn't end up playing. But yeah, like you said, we ended up winning this game 110-104 against Miami Heat that had everybody besides Jimmy Butler. And let's say how it was. Miami's bench was trying to go off.
Yep.
In that 3rd, 4th quarter there, they were trying to go off, and we had just enough firepower to keep going. There was one play specifically, though, not necessarily defense play, an offensive play, actually, regarding Amen Thompson. The way he was able to just dunk the ball, he just floats. It was down towards the tail end of the 4th quarter, and bro had the ball. Not only was he sped up above everybody else, but he just jumped so effortlessly. I mean, I'm trying to tell people, man, he reminded me a little bit of Russell Westbrook, with the jump shot. He's I don't want to say OKC Russ, but just what Russ's player embodies. The physicality, the intensity, the athleticism, the speed, with a little bit of defense mixed in there. Amen is going to be so phenomenal. But here's some keys to the game that we ended up winning today. It was the free throw battle. If our guys are able to go into the paint and kind of, battle in with them, and this entails us with getting the rebounds as well. We out-rebounded them, had higher points in the paint, and we had more free throws made this game. It's just absolutely phenomenal. A way that our coach was able to battle against, which is another coaching battle, Ime versus Eric Spoelstra. And Ime in his last meeting with Eric Spoelstra, Ime beat him. And here he is, Ime beating him once again. Last time was to get to the finals, of course, against Golden State Warriors. But, obviously beating him, even if it is just the preseason, it's just a nice little tick to Ime's record. Just to keep he's stat padding his resume against Eric Spoelstra right now is what he's doing. But it's just a nice win from our guys all around. There's definitely a better defensive game from LP, but I don't know. The last couple of games he played, he struggled against Zach Collins too many times. And then he's struggling now against Bam, which is fair because Bam is one of those elite bigs, that all-star caliber, that all-NBA caliber, all-defensive team caliber player, and that's why he is. But it is interesting to see Elbrin Şengün, the Turkish twister, as I like to call him, struggle with Bam Adebayo, and then struggle with Zach Collins, which to me is incredible that Zach Collins is able to do what he does against Elbrin Şengün. I feel like LP should body him, but for some reason he doesn't. He can't. I don't know. It's like Joel Embiid getting beat up by a old washed Al Horford. It's incredible sometimes.
Yup, it
Shout
is.
out, shout out Phillies, man.
Shout out Phillies.
Yeah, we're gonna move on though. That's all we got for the preseason games. So we're gonna move on to our next topic here, and we're only gonna talk about specifically the basketball side of this, of
Okay.
course. We're gonna end up talking about the Kevin Porter Jr. trade. That happened not too long ago. We ended up getting Victor Oladipo and Jeremy Robinson Earl. Jeremy Robinson Earl, we just waived though, so we don't have to worry about that no more. We got Victor Oladipo, who was an all right guy. His 2022-23 stats were about 11 points a game, 3.5 assists a game with 3 boards, over a steal, actually almost 1.5 steals at 1.4, and then only 0.3 blocks a game. But he did shoot 40% from the field, 33% from 3, and 75% from the field. So definitely that role player stat. I know he was constantly injured throughout the season, and then if I'm wrong, correct me, Dante, but I believe he ended up getting injured in the first game against the Bucks.
Yeah.
He hit that ankle again, so we'll end up seeing what's going on. But Oladipo is a rocket. I thought Jeremy was going to stay, but we kept Oladipo, who is still a defensive monster. His stats might not pop out, kind of like Dylan Brooks, where he does all those little things, and he can send you a skin. He'll talk to you just a little bit, but he'll still talk to you. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good idea to have Debo. And just in a second here, I'll get to what OKC said. So OKC ended up receiving from us Kevin Porter Jr., who was immediately waived, of course. And then they got 2 second rounders, a 2027 Milwaukee and a 2027 Minnesota, my bad, and then a 2028 Milwaukee Bucks pick. I'd say 2 second round picks for Oladipo is absolutely worth it, especially if we're getting anywhere near this kind of production from him at all, especially if it's on the defensive end. What do you think?
Yeah. I think again, I would have really liked to see what Robinson Earl would have became as a part of the Houston Rockets organization. He was a young guy. He was a young player too, man. And we elected to keep Boban over him. I guess we're going to keep Boban just to sit on the bench and take up space on the bench, but he's a good locker room guy. I see why Ime Udoka wanted to do that. Keeps a culture guy now. Now, when Victor Oladipo is on the floor, he can give you some production, like you saw it at Miami last year when he was healthy. He gave Miami some really good minutes off of the bench in the regular season. So, you remember last time we had him, he didn't want to be here. He really didn't want to be a part of this roster and be a part of the team. That's when we was dysfunctional at that time. Maybe things is better now. Maybe things is better with Oladipo coming back, and Ime Udoka, the culture has changed over here. We got some veterans in the locker room along with a great group of young players over here. Maybe if he does get healthy, maybe, Ime Udoka does. Maybe he plays some valuable minutes for us off of the bench, when Ime Udoka does need him. He's also coming off an injury too as well. But I would really like to see Glenn Robinson Earl, on this basketball team and get probably another body in there to get some more minutes. But again, other than that, I trust what Ime Udoka is going to do with this squad. And I trust in his ability to be coaching these guys. And you can already tell he's hard on these guys. When he called a timeout, he called timeout with some meaning to it, man. Mm-hmm. He's really frustrated when he calls a timeout when teams are going on a run and his team is not focused enough and not doing what they supposed to do. He really called and he talks to the players. He talks to the players when he takes them out. And tell them what they're doing wrong. You need a coach like that. It's going to be hard, but also show you that tough love as well. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they just collecting picks at this moment. They just draft picks at this moment.
Collecting them things like it's Infinity Stones. Yep. Bro. They have so many. They're going to have to start trading picks. Don't. They have for the next, I think, 3 years in first round picks alone. I believe they have upwards of 15 first round picks for the next 4 years.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Why do you need that many? You already got Shea. Okay, you already got a bunch of other teams. You can give us our pick back, please. They don't need any more picks. I think they're okay. But you were saying a lot of facts though there. I would say something that's interesting is I could see in a world where Oladipo, if he becomes healthy and he's like 80% of what he was on Miami, 85% at the best. I could see him in closing lineups with certain people in place of Jayshawn Tate, simply because Depot is a little bit quicker and he's more of that scoring threat, as well as he's got some fairly long arms for his height, being at 6'4", and he's experienced. I could see where if he is, healthy and things go right, Oladipo being in some of those closing lineups in crunch time, being on that defensive anchor, and then someone as a guy that can make a play on the defensive end, kind of like Tari, be a defensive playmaker, and perhaps get us some wins. He could be a valuable asset. But like you said, I would have loved to see what Jeremiah would have been like. He started his second season, which was last year. He started almost all those games. And, putting up, 7 points a game on 4 boards on a team with Shea, which wasn't horrible. Wasn't great defensively. But, shooting 33% as a big, league average, a little bit under league average, is totally fine with me. Making a 30 or threes is cool with me as a big. If Alperen Sengun was shooting that, I'd be ecstatic.
I'd be excited too. Yep.
So we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully you can find something like that. And going back to what you said earlier about Boban as well, yes, definitely that locker room guy. To me, it felt redundant because they have, Uncle Jeff. They got Jeff Green in there, and I feel like him and Boban do the same thing, except Jeff will probably play some games, and Jeff's got a championship. But people like Boban, Big Bobby, he's a fun guy, and I think he's also, I'll be honest with you, I think he's also just kind of cap filler at this point. It's that way we have that extra guy for super cheap coming in. I believe he's making like $2.1 million a year, which sounds like that's so much money, but in the NBA it's really not. It'd be nice to say I could ride the bench for $2.1 million. I wish, but that's all I got to say about the trade here. Looks like whatever happens. I'm really hoping Oladipo can be, around Tate level. Again, it's nothing against Jayshawn Tate, and I'm seeing in the preseason there was a couple games where he was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I'm just okay with getting rid of him.
I would be fine. Like I wouldn't be upset at all. If we was to trade Jayshawn Tate today, I would be okay with that. Like I wouldn't be so upset. I wouldn't be so upset, but the way he's playing right now, it's just hard. It's going to be hard. I think Ime Udoka's kind of sold on Jayshawn Tate as of right now. I just think he's really locked in on what Jayshawn Tate is doing, and he's doing the right thing, man. So he's performing on the court. So I can't be mad at him for doing that. But I wouldn't be. I said it last year. I think I wouldn't be mad if we got rid of him and went on and traded him to a contender that he can help.
Yeah. I would just like to see him somewhere else, because in like lineups where we have Jayshawn Tate and a non-shooter like Jayshawn Tate and Jeff Green, or Jayshawn Tate and Alperen Sengun, or even at times Jayshawn Tate and, for right now, Cam Whitmore. It's just hard to have, especially in today's NBA, 2 people who cannot shoot on the court at the same time, let alone even one person. You almost have to play on offense at all times these days. You got people like Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama coming in, and I know Jayshawn Tate is not about to clamp him. Dylan Brooks was clamping Wemby. I don't know if you remember that, but Dylan Brooks was giving Wemby a heck of a time. He didn't even score 20, which was great, which is crazy to say that he didn't score 20, considering what he did to the Golden State Warriors, who are a playoff team. He was bullying those kids, it looked like, out there. It was just absolutely phenomenal. And I can't have Jayshawn Tate out there getting cooked with that. There's just some of the big men that he'd be on are just kind of too skilled, or he's not tall enough simply to guard them. Coming in, I believe he's 6'4", and tries to play the 4 because he can't shoot the 3. Well, that's kind of the same thing where Eric Paschall used to play for the Golden State Warriors, who was a pick in 2020. He ended up going to the Utah Jazz, and the Utah Jazz didn't even want him anymore. So, obviously Jayshawn Tate's in the league because of his elite defense and his basketball IQ, but he's going to have to get some sort of shot. He just has to, because, we saw even in the training rounds during training camp, there were times in those videos where Jayshawn Tate's being left wide open by his teammates. He's taking the shot, and he's not making them. That's not exactly a great thing when you see G leaguers leaving Jay-Sean Tate wide open. That's not great. So knowing he can't shoot is a liability, to say the least. So that's all I got to say about the Kip Porter Jr. trade. KPJ's done. He's off the team. We'll talk about it no more. When we move on, we are a brand new team this season with no drama. Going in with our heads held high and a clean slate. I can't even say we've even got like super high hopes, but we definitely got higher hopes than what we had in previous seasons. And that's something I do want to ask you about at the end of the episode, Dante. So let's get right into it. All right, this is the main event. Here we go. October 25th, there is going to be a season opener. Finally, for us, the Houston Rockets play for their very first basketball game of actual regular season action. Yeah. It's going to be Jabari versus Paolo in the sophomore battle. I'm very excited to see how Jabari can this year kind of dance around Paolo Banchero. Banchero was touted as the third overall pick before that crazy whatever happened with Banchero, and he went number 1. In my opinion, he was the unanimous rookie of the year. Unfortunately, he was just absolutely phenomenal last year. Yeah, Jabari, not so much. Jabari was not great last year, and that's okay. So hopefully this year we see it almost equal out. Some things to expect from our team are going to go with high energy, from coaching to fans. I mean, you and me, definitely. I'm going to have some high energy going in there. Definitely some higher expectations on what we can do against the Magic, as well as, the team going to be a little excited, and coaching is just going to be on fire. And then speaking of coaching, we're going to get into some real-time coaching changes, I believe. Kind of see how Ime is going to set up the lineups, especially with Tari not out there. We're having our opening debut without, our 6th, 7th man off the bench, which is insane, but we'll be fine, hopefully. And then we're going to talk about defense. We expect to see some defense nonetheless. See that high defensive energy we put out, and hopefully causing those 20 team turnovers, which you like to see out there. Dante, what are your thoughts on the Rockets versus Magic?
Oh man, I think we're gonna have a great game against the Magic. I think it's a bit interesting. Like one thing I'm interested in, is just seeing, like I say, the new rotations. Man, who's going to be a part of the rotation? I'm expecting Reggie Bullock to get some minutes. I don't think Cam Whitmore probably will get. If he get minutes, it's going to be on a short leash. I think you're going to see a rote. Tari Eason, I think Tari Eason being out, well, we definitely going to miss him with that leg stress. So it'll be a good opportunity for Cam Whitmore to capitalize on that, because I think he will get some time since, Victor Oladipo won't be ready for this opener or for some time. I think he's still dealing with an injury. So I think we do expect Cam Whitmore to play in a rotation. You do expect Jay-Sean Tate to be a part of the rotation. And we do expect Amin Thompson to be one of the first guys off the bench for the Houston Rockets as well. So how the new offensive lineup is going to be the starters. We got to get off to a good start as well. We got to get off to a good start, especially you open it up in Orlando. And I want to see good shot selection, trying to lower the turnovers. But you want to make shots, which is I think we will do. We got the defensive guys that we can we're gonna be able to defend at a high level. We already proven that we can force turnovers, even with the regular team starting lineups in there. I mean, New Orleans, we forced them to 30 turnovers with their lineups. Their starting lineup, man. Their starting lineup play half the game, like to the third quarter. And without starting lineup play, we dominated. We dominated them straight up. The Miami Heat, they got a good culture over there. With Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and all of those guys over there. Man, pretty much, Jimmy Butler wasn't pretty much playing, but, we forced them the 21 turnovers. So we can do it against starters. We can do it against – these ain't just players that, these ain't just players that sit on the bench. These are starters that we're forcing these turnovers on. So we can definitely force over 17 turnovers versus Orlando. But, again, I think our defense is going to be good. I think Ime Udoka is going to make the adjustments he needed to make. And I think Jabari Smith is going to have a hell of a sophomore season. And so Pablo elevated that Magic team to another level. That Magic team was a 35-win team last year. Man, that's just shows you how different a star type player can make on a team, man. On a team, man. I'm looking forward to this battle. You know, they will pick number 1 and 3. You know, it was times that Jabari Smith in the middle of that draft, you know, in the draft process, you know, people would think he would be the first overall pick. And we thinking as Rockets fans, hey, we're going to get Pablo, man. It's going to be fun watching Pablo. But again, Pablo goes to Orlando. He turned out to be the better player, better overall player than Jabari. But that's okay, man. Jabari is going to be a very good defender. He's going to have a chance to be a part of small defensive teams. A great shooter as well. Well, I think his shooting percentage will go up. But I think, you know, we got a better team way better team than we did last year. Dylan Brooks is gonna be guarding Pablo. He's gonna be trying to give him a hard time. We got a great point guard in Fred VanVleet who can drop 20 points any given night, who's gonna give you about 8 or 9 assists and stuff. And LP, you know, I'm not worried about his struggles in the preseason. I think he will have a favorable matchup versus Wendell Carter. I think he has a favorable matchup in that game too. So I like our team going into Orlando, man. I like our first month of the schedule. It looks really good, man. We can win some of those games, man. Like I say, playing tournament. I just think the players wasn't bad last year, man. I just think the coaching, well, they wasn't coached well. And I think this year you'll see a big difference. You'll see a big difference in the squad with the coaching.
Definitely. Yeah. Coaching is definitely obviously we've seen just in the preseason alone. I believe the last 2 preseasons we've lost all 5 of ours. And at the best we won a game, but this season to go 4-1, do a complete 180. I'm looking for that magic jump, like you said earlier. 35 wins, just around there. I mean, I know the East was really wild last year. The Magic got some wins that they definitely shouldn't have gotten normally. Against like a Nets team and stuff like that. Yep. Unfortunately, we didn't have any of that shake up for us out here in the West. If anything, the West got more stacked. So, again, I'm not looking necessarily for 35 wins. 35 wins would be phenomenal. But if we can get in that 31, 32 game range, I'd be okay with 30 games at the minimum, just depending on how our play is overall. It really just depends on what we're looking like in the regular season, because I'm not looking for wins as the automatic our team is better. I'm looking at, game to game, what have we done better? And in a situation last year, would we have won that game? I think about the Miami game, right, where we were up for a while and then we started to lose a little bit. They were coming back. We were able to maintain the lead. Last season, we would have gotten blown out.
We got whooped in the second half. We lost most of the games last year in the second half. I mean, we can name a bunch of the games that we lost in the second half. Now, it just was so ridiculous last year. This year, I think we win some of those games. We win a lot of those games that we lost last year in the second half. Like you said, last year we lost a busload, though. I mean, we lost 2 Dallas Mavericks games when Luka beat us by himself in the fourth quarter. He literally beat us by himself. We lost the game against Sacramento when Eric Gordon fouled.
And then that Portland game, too.
And we lost the Portland game in the second half. We lost 2 Sacramento games in the fourth quarter. We lost 2 of those games, one in Sacramento and one at home. The second one we definitely should have won. I have when Jalen Green decided to go crazy in that game. We lost a lot of games in the second half, man. We can name so many of them. It's just crazy. And now we already start seeing, hey, once we get a lead, we know how to stay on top. And that just shows you how big of a difference the coaching is. It's just like in a lot of those games, the last 2 games in OKC, the team was out. They forgot they had a basketball game. They literally forgot they had a basketball when OKC beat us to death the last 2 games in OKC. But I'm pretty much sure I can guarantee that will not happen this year. Ime Udoka is not going to have that, because this just feels like a 35-win team with Ime Udoka in the lineup. I don't think Ime Udoka is that type of coach that's going to settle for under 28 wins or 31 wins. I don't think he immediately say in his press conference, when you listen to him, he said, I never missed the playoffs, and I'm not trying to ever miss the playoffs. My goal is to get this team back to the playoffs. Fred VanVleet came out multiple times and said it.
Same thing.
To get this team to the playoffs, and they look really motivated and say, hey, getting to the playoffs is our goal. And then once we get to the playoffs, hopefully we get a lot of players that in the free agent block. I don't know how much money we're going to have, but on a free agent block that want to come play here. Because when you win, it helps you get more guys.
Yeah, I mean, Fred could have played anywhere. He chose to play here.
Yep.
And, going forward with that, hopefully, Fred uses that money as more than enough to not give the Raptors that same treatment he was kind of doing towards the end of the season last year, where he's playing kind of lazier, playing a lot more selfish. I mean, on media day, we heard it from all of the Raptors. They're like, yeah, coach had to go around talking to all the team, talking about, who's being selfish and all that jazz, and we're seeing, a very turned around, refined, that veteran point guard that we've been looking for in Fred VanVleet in almost every single moment. Now, sometimes he does over dribble. Sure, yeah, that's kind of this thing, but I'd rather have a guy who over dribbles a little bit for 7, 8 seconds, a third of the clock, instead of uh, and then still being active in the play, instead of a guy who's like dribble, 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 step back, dribble, 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 stand off in the corner. You know what I mean?
To be honest though, that whole Raptors team was in a disarray. They didn't like the coach. They didn't like the way Nick Nurse coached, and the whole team was in a disarray. And you can feel like when Fred VanVleet came out and challenged the team and came up and spoke up, the young players did what they wanted to do. They wasn't buying it. That whole team was a disarray of organization. So I see why Fred VanVleet was able to do what he tried to do. And when you got one shooter outside of OG Anunoby that can shoot at least 36% from the three, your efficiency is going to really go down like that. So that whole team, they want to put all the blame on Fred VanVleet, which I think is unfair for them to come out and say. That whole lineup and team was in a disarray, which is the reason why they lost probably against the Chicago Bulls in that play-in tournament game when they were up by double digits in that whole game. Fred VanVleet had pretty much a solid game in that game, but he was a 20-point per game scorer, and I'm happy that we did get him. Like I say again, if he doesn't perform, he's on a team-friendly deal any damn way. He's only got a 2-year option, and Amen Thompson should be ready at that time. He should be ready at that time. So he took a team-friendly deal, but I think he's going to have a good season. I think he's going to average. We know he's going to average double digits. I think he's going to average between 17, 16 points per game because Jalen Green, I'm expecting Jalen Green to play well. Your GOAT to play well. I want GOAT to play well, and I expect Jabari Smith to put up a double-digit scoring too a night. And this whole lineup, basically starting five, could put up double digits every single night. And when you got five guys put up double digits every single night, that's good, man. That's good. It's just a matter – what can we get on a defensive end? Which is, I think we're going to get stops on the defensive end. Our problem, we can score. We can score the ball. We just couldn't stop nobody last year. We just had so much discommunication. Every backdoor cut just went past us last year. A lot of lackadaisical discommunication on the defensive side of the ball. I think this year we get that corrected. We get that corrected this year. We got guys that can score. We're going to have at least Tari Eason averaging 9 off the bench, 9 points off the bench. Amen Thompson may average 10 off the bench. So we never know. We got guys that can go in there and play, and we got good defensive guys. Fred VanVleet loves to play defense. He loves to play defense.
He was an all-star, and I believe at one point an all-defensive guard back in his prime. And then going along with that, almost a 20-10 guy. Last year, he also had 20 points and 20 assists, which was his first 2020 game as well. So, I mean, if he's coming off a season where he just had 20 assists with the Raptors, who, like you said, cannot shoot at all, imagine what he's going to be able to do with a team that can actually shoot the ball. If Jalen can be consistent, if Jabari can be consistent with the spot-up threes, if Tari can be consistent with the spot-up threes, and a couple other guys. And then, especially if he's playing Reggie Bullock out there, which is essentially a downgraded, I'm oversimplifying it, but it's a downgraded OG Anunoby. But in terms of he's a better shooter and way less as effective on defense, which is fine. He's also shorter. I believe Reggie Bullock is at 6'5".
Yeah.
And he plays the three predominantly. But he gets him 2 minutes as well, in the absence of Jalen and or Amen Thompson. But we'll end up seeing what happens as well. And then we'll end up seeing what Cam turns into. I mean, he's just got such raw talent. And, like we were talking about earlier, he can score the ball. Obviously, we've seen that. It's just how efficient can he put the ball?
Yeah.
Can he? Because he can make his layups. He's very bouncy. He can make his dunks. He's the exact opposite of Tari. Tari was splashing every three he got last year.
Yeah.
Every corner three he was taking, he was making, it felt like. But he just couldn't make a dang layup.
Yeah.
Now we get the opposite in Cam Whitmore, who is, just as tenacious on the defensive end, like we saw, again, 8 steals in Summer League, 6 steals as a career high in the preseason already, playing against grown men, And obviously some of those are gambles with the preseason lull. That's fine, but I mean, if he's a guy who could do that at all in the regular season, he's essentially a taller but not as strong Tari Eason, and he's a Tari Eason that can't shoot the ball, but he can make anything inside the paint, anything inside the arc. That's not the three. Versus Tari Eason, anything that's outside the arc and beyond, count
Yep.
it. As well as Tari being that all defensive guy. And I know we talked briefly before last few pods as well about potential awards with Jabari, maybe Fred and Tari making an all defensive team at some point in their career. If Cam keeps it up, he could be an all team guy as well. If he keeps that intensity, I keep seeing people compare him to Kawhi. That's really interesting. Him and Tari to Kawhi, which is really interesting. But yeah, I mean, as far as comparisons go, that's really fun. Dante, I want to say that's all we got for us today. It was a very quick pod compared to our usual normal stuff going on here. Gosh, we're just so ready, so excited to jump.
So excited, man. Basketball's getting ready to start, man. We getting ready to start the season, man. We should be excited. Our new coaching staff, man. And again, our Astros and gave us a good run, gave us a good season. Just want to congratulate them. 7 straight ALCSs, they lost to the better team. It sucks because you losing to your rivalry, Rangers. But again, just to make it the 7 straight ALCS American League Championship Series, that says a lot on your own. But we got the Texans, we got the Rockets. They're coming, man. The Rockets are gonna beat us slowly and surely. Like, we was able to hire the best coach who everybody wanted on the market. We was able to get that guy, and this guy wanted to come here and sign that deal immediately and wanted to come here and coach these young guys, man. We know Boston. You can say Boston was a better team than the Rockets. This is not a Boston situation right here. We had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But again, I'm going to go back to that magic number when he was 500. 500. This man was literally 500 before he called the team out and called Jason Tatum, called Jaylen Brown out and saying, we need to stop playing some of you two doing y'all own thing, and we need this is a team thing that we need to get into right there. And he called them out publicly through the media. And guess what? That after the All-Star break, that team went 31-9. You can't tell me that's not coaching. That's not coaching. For you to be 500 and then you go 31-9 and make the NBA Finals, even though you come up short. That's coaching has something to do with that situation. And Ime Udoka definitely is the right coach for the job. And every Houston fan was excited. We both was excited when we heard the news. And he's gonna change. He's changing the culture around here, and we're gonna have a solid season, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna have a good season. I'm banking on it.
Him and Fred and Dylan Brooks have brought a different kind of, not only a culture to the team, but a different identity regarding defense. It's really interesting to see how our identity went from shoot the three as much as possible to hey, quit doing that shit, play defense. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just the immediate switch. I mean, you got Jalen Green playing defense.
Yes.
You know how happy I was? I was like, oh my gosh, is this Kobe? Is this Jordan? He's out here, our GOAT, our future GOAT, who was putting up 40-point games in the regular season last year, is playing defense. Dude, he's going to be the next T-Mac, hopefully, minus the injuries, and never getting out of the first round in his career. I'm so excited to see Jalen Green grow, especially if he keeps up that defensive intensity. He doesn't even have to be a monster in defense. He just has to play defense. That's all I care about. I mean, he's already defensively better than Steph Curry. Of course, I had to mention that guy on here because I hate the Golden State Warriors. I hate Curry.
Last year we couldn't get a lick of defense for Jalen Green because we had no coach that they didn't buy into Steven Silas. They didn't trust Steven Silas. And again, and he even admitted last year in the locker room, like in his post-game comment, we have no cohesiveness. We have no veteran leadership in the locker room, which is we didn't. Now we got it in the locker room. And Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, who's going to be a pest. Yes, he can do some crazy stuff to make you upset, like nut check somebody or something like that. But hey, I want one of those annoying flies that never gets out of your ear. I want one of those, and that's what Dylan Brooks is. Man, he's an all defender. So you want one of those guys. Then you got Tari Eason, who's going to be healthy, who can play defense. We got all these good guys that can play defense. And like I say, I don't care what it is. 4-1 in the preseason, but we playing against starters though for 3 quarters. and we was able to force them to 20 turnovers in 3 quarters. That's amazing. Imagine, like I say, we do that against Orlando. We do that the whole regular season. I'm telling you, we can be a top 15 defensive squad. If we even in the top 10, boy, we gonna be ridiculous. We gonna be ridiculous. That's saying something right now. We're gonna have a coach that's not gonna play no games with anybody. That's gonna, if you don't come out there and play well, you don't come out perform, you're gonna sit your ass right on the bench, and that's what
You
you
sit right down.
Yep.
Yes. If he can get Jalen Green to continue playing defense, if he can
Yep.
get people to buy in, which it looks like they have, but if he gets them to continue to buy in, and it looks like he revitalized Jabari Smith's confidence.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit for this team. I mean, we could be over 35 wins if everything breaks right.
Yeah.
If everyone takes that leap, that jump. I mean, even if Jalen takes a jump, he doesn't have to take that Anthony Edwards year 2, but if he takes a jump at all, it's wraps. The league is in trouble, and especially if Jabari takes that leap. I mean, he's got the potential to be the best player on the team, and hopefully Şengün's woes in the preseason here do not transfer over to the regular season. I would be highly disappointed if that's the case, but I don't expect that. It looked like it was just kind of some lull, I mean, we know he plays over there, he plays on the Turkish team as well in the off season, so he's working all the time. He gets no rest, and the guy that works all the time, grinds all the time. I mean, no pain, no gain, right? So I imagine that he's grown. He's got. I think that's all we got, right? That's all we got. Thank you guys for joining today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel around. You can follow this here at H-TownRundown on Twitter or the X app, as well as follow us on YouTube, Spotify. You can also follow me at drip2piece_GAWD on Instagram as well. You can follow me on YouTube as well, where I stream over there. And you can follow me on the X app again at drip2piece_GAWD. Dante, let them know where they can find you. Let's close this out.
Man, y'all can follow me on Coach Dante YouTube channel, Coach Dante 31 on Twitter, Coach Dante 31 on Instagram. Like I say, be excited for our Rockets, man, because we gonna come slowly and for surely, and can't wait to Wednesday, man. Basketball starts tomorrow. Other than that, man, you got 2 good doubleheaders, and then we get to our Rockets, man. At 6:00 on Wednesday, we start. That's an early start time too in Orlando, Florida. It's gonna be explosion. We gonna be ready.
Absolutely. I'm ready. You're ready. We're all ready. Thank you, guys. In the YouTube comments below, can you guys tell us what you are expecting? What's your prediction for the regular season? Who's going to win this game with the Magic? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time. See you.
Peace out, you guys.
Boom.